So by now, you know where I stand on church live stream, but there can come a time when a church is ready to pursue that path. But when and how you pursue it is very important. Welcome to Church Media HQ, your church's one source for graphics, websites, videos, and all things creative. I'm Luke Clayton. Thanks for being with me. Make sure you subscribe so you're the first to know when we release new content just like this. Now, as mentioned before, I would encourage you, as we talk about live stream, to check out that series about a better way to do church online. Because that's really where we dive into this deeper. But we are going to take a few thoughts from that series here. And that, first of all, I'm going to mention live stream does not have to be broadcast live. So when you actually are ready to do live stream and do it right, it doesn't have to truly be live. You can pre-record your worship service, and if you're going to do it that way, and then you can simulate a live experience with features like YouTube or Facebook Premiere, or the free Church Online platform, which I believe you access at church.online or online. No, it's online.church. You can access that there, set it up. It's completely free, and it will literally allow you to simulate live a pre-recording of your service as if it was live. Here's why that's important to realize, because there's a lot of issues that can potentially arise with bandwidth when it comes to trying to upload something in real time. This is why most church, beyond cameras and lighting issues and audio issues and all of the technicalities on that end of the actual capturing it, this is why a lot of church live streams are kind of weak. They're kind of poor quality, is because truly doing something live requires a lot of bandwidth, and it's typically not something that most churches are equipped for, even though they might think that they are. With that in mind, let's move through our framework and see how we can apply each of our main emphasis to live stream in this case. When it comes to worship, and what I'm about to say actually applies to everything. But when it comes to worship, don't do it until you can afford it. Now look, here's the thing, and this is where I get the most pushback, because everybody wants to do live stream. They love the idea of live stream, but they hate the commitment that it requires to do right. And again, go check out that series where I dive into all of that. I'm going to keep it high level for sake of this series. But you should not do it until you can afford it. And you cannot afford it until you have about a six-figure budget. That's a minimum of $100,000, and many times it's much more than that. I know, that's a number to choke on. That's scary. That scares me. That's not something I'm in a place to do. And so I understand this is something that is very, very, it seems crazy. How are we supposed to have live stream if we can't afford it? Look, here's the thing. There are alternatives. There are ways to have a church online presence, even in your worship. You could consider recording tracks of your worship team, singing maybe some of your favorite worship songs. And again, this is something that would require effort, but doing a recording session, if you will, or you're just recording some live or some worship there, is going to be a lot more doable, because it's a one-time thing. It's not something you're having to try to replicate week after week with live broadcasting of your worship. And so that's just an example. So I would definitely invest into that before I invested in the live stream, because it's not going to be something that's exactly, super budget friendly, but to produce quality worship content and make it available by way of maybe Apple Music, Spotify, or even some type of music video is going to be much more affordable than investing in a live stream. When it comes to teaching, this is where you might be able to cheat the system a little bit. You can capture quality footage of your live sermon in a much more simple format than you can try to capture your entire worship service. Because if you say, hey, okay, well, yeah, we will capture live video of just our preaching, of just our teaching time, that's when maybe we'll begin a live feed or a live recording. Again, I wouldn't say you have to broadcast it live, but a live recording of our pastor teaching. You can get away with that because, first of all, on the audio end, you only have to worry about one channel of audio to balance. That's usually one of the biggest kind of downfalls of church live stream, is the fact that the audio is not balanced well. So you only have to worry about that one channel to balance and to make sure it sounds good. And so with that in mind, and you're not having to do all the different movement, capture all the different elements of worship, You really just have to capture the your pastor. And so this you may be able to actually do for more of a high 5-figure budget. So it's kind of a way to cheat the system, and maybe as I talk about in the other series, maybe a phase 1 of truly doing some type of live production in your worship. Now, when it comes to connection, well, you just have to keep this in mind overall. How can you make your church online experience engaging? Church online is not just people watching either pre-recorded or a live broadcast service. No, it's a way for you to digitally connect with your online audience. Again, this is why when it comes to your actual live, if you are trying to do some type of live worship experience, the Church Online platform has the live chat, and then in that case, you can encourage people to, connect with you. Maybe they offer ways to pray and all of that stuff there online. It is really nice. Beyond that, though, again, we're thinking outside of just your church. The actual moment of trying to maybe do some type of broadcast of your worship. This is where you have to realize that your church online experience beyond those moments, it exists beyond the moments of just your services being broadcast. This is why going back to social media and engaging people in this way, this is why this is so important to continue engaging people online throughout the week. It's not just a one-time 1 hour or 2 hour a week deal. It's a constant ongoing aspect. So what can you do? Well, let's be realistic about where you're at and where you're headed. Again, I think it's completely acceptable for most churches to never do a true live stream experience. I think where we're headed and where our culture is headed in terms of digital connection, I don't believe that that's as necessary as what we've made it out to be. I think church online is crucial, but I think there's ways of effectively engaging people online in a much more efficient way than trying to do so through just what we believe would be conventional live stream. Maybe you want to, with that in mind though, if you do want to build out your live stream in some way or your live broadcast capabilities, you might want to reconsider Church Online as some type of a global outreach tool. It's part of your missions budget. Maybe you could also consider it as part of a building project, a building fund. These are kind of ways to hack, if you will, the system, because it might be hard to sell somebody on buying, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment as just a one-off thing, but to say, hey, this is part of outreach, a missions effort. This is part of a revamp of our building and our facilities. Might be an easier sell. Again, just a couple ideas on a hack there. And again, I do believe all this said that prioritizing your church online should be pretty high in your budget. It is not the future. It is the now. People are engaging with everything online. It's one of those things. You can either try to resist that or you can embrace that, and you can actually use this powerful tool to reach more people. What can we do for you here? Well, I'd like to tell you that we'd come and install Livestream and all that for you, but that's really not our thing. Like I said, we can come and maybe help you with just a studio, but doing all the gear and equipment, that's not our thing. But what we can do is support you again through priority coaching. We can help you research that process and really, if you really do want to make excellence in live production a priority, by hiring us to help you with your creative needs, well, that's going to save your payroll in a big way. You could take that budget item you have maybe for an employee, and you could start allocating that towards better equipment, better gear, better systems for video production. And because hiring us or somebody like us is much more affordable than a full-time hire. No matter how you decide to do it, just know we are here to help, even if you disagree with me on Livestream. Well, we've covered quite a bit here in this series, but there's one last important question to answer. And we're going to get to that next. We are your church's one source for graphics, websites, videos, and all things creative. I look forward to seeing you next time right here on Church Media HQ.